So I asked both Ethan and Nick about this, but the late game turnovers, I mean, they've been a killer for you guys so far. How do you as a coach, maybe in practice, I mean, how does that get fixed in your mind?
Like I told the guys, another game there to be won against a good team, against an experienced team, against an old team, playing against an extremely young team. And I think that's all that happened down the stretch. They played like veterans. In order for us to learn how to not be a young team, it really has nothing to do with whether you're 18 or 19 or 20, and they're 24, 25, and 26. What it has to do with is how you learn from your experiences. Because when you learn from your experiences, you'll become an older team because we're in these games. Like I told our guys, our effort, our competitiveness, I see growth in, okay, all right, they're doing what we need to be done to get the result we want. But in tonight's game, in that time frame, whether it was the last 6 minutes of the game, they looked like an older team, we looked like a younger team. And the youngness showed up in what you're saying, which is turnovers. And the way I phrased it to them is veteran teams hit singles at those times. They don't go for home runs. Home runs, when you go for them, they end up in strikeouts, right? When you hit singles, right? You hit another single, and then somebody hits a bomb, and all of a sudden that's a three-runner, right? And we try to hit some home runs, a couple turnovers there, and we have to learn from that. That all that's required there is to know, and go through that experience. The pass from Jeff to Nick, the pass from Marcel to Nick. They're crucial. They were crucial at that time, and that's part of the learning curve of learning. Okay, I know Coach said we're going to do this. There was a next part of that, and go to the next thing, because the more you learn to do that, the more you're actually practicing what you got to do to execute in those situations. And I think that's all the game really came down to there in the last 6 minutes of the game. The game was 48-all with 8 to go. It's 51-48 with 5.5 to go. That game was not a 13-point game at all. So that's what we got to stay focused on, because if we stay focused on that and maintain sort of this growth that we are having, then we'll add another part to that growth, which is how do we become more veteran at those points in the game. And let's the same thing happened at the end of the first half. We were winning 29-24, and with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go, and I think we had 3 turnovers there. You know what I mean? So again, that's just learned behavior. When we close out that first half, when that day comes, you'll be seeing a little bit more veteran team that will transfer to being able to do that for 40 minutes, at some point in time. And that's the process.
What's the biggest thing you feel changes amongst the lineup and everything when Lucas is forced to exit with injury? Because obviously he doesn't play second half. I mean, what's the biggest thing that changes for you guys, whether it be bad or good?
I think it's a game-to-game thing. I thought we did a really good job all game on them defensively in terms of trying to beat us inside. We did a really good job and we did a really good job of stopping their passing because that's how they score. So Lucas was a part of that, and it's like a game-to-game thing. I think tonight would have been a good game for Lucas because of just the matchup with that team. But ultimately, probably the biggest effect is depth, I would say, because Nick can't be out there for, 20 straight minutes, 18 straight minutes. He loses his effectiveness. So it's a depth thing with, okay, well, where are we going to get some of what Lucas provides if he's not available, and that's part of, it's already been in my head anyhow. We practiced yesterday with Cam playing a little bit of center, of going small. Everybody in college basketball is going small ball or whatever. Well, we got to come up with our version, and I got to figure out who that's going to be, how that's going to look. Obviously, I'll get to know more on Lucas's status, but obviously I know from him not being able to play in the second half, that's going to force that to start to show up a little bit more, and that's just part of, like I said to the guys, that's part of what we're building is, okay, we got to keep getting guys to improve. We got to keep getting guys to get better. We have other guys that we're going to have to be able to count on. I think we've done a pretty good job. The team has done a good job of doing that so far. We have to make sure we keep doing that because, one, the season demands that you're able to do that, bring some guys along. But two, I think that just like anything, if we can have that kind of depth and be developing that, that's really going to help us. But obviously with Lucas, it's going to force sort of finding like what that third option is right now.
You've talked a lot about how important Jake is to basically everything you guys do. How are you seeing defenses adjust to him? Because only 5 shots tonight, but they seem to be on him quite a bit. How are you seeing teams adjust already?
Well, I just think that's part of becoming a sophomore and scouting reports, and that's where you see the, he is 4 games into a sophomore year, real sophomore, and you're out there doing what you're saying, or they're doing what they're doing to him, and it's for 40 minutes, and he's the focus of a scouting report, and he's the focus of a scouting report against a good team with older guys that are veterans and strong, and he's got to learn to deal with it, and really the way you deal with it is overarching is, we just have to continue to, get stronger offensively, get more physical offensively, continue to get more sort of mental understanding of what we're doing along the way with the physical parts of it. Because right now I just think offensively in these games, when you put yourself in them, you got to do it for 40 minutes, and we sort of wear out. We wear out a little bit. And I think that's the experience I'm talking about. You learn that, okay, I can't wear out. We got to get stronger. That's a team thing across the board because I think ultimately that's what's going to help Jake. He's going to deal with it himself. He's going to, learn how to deal with that more, being the focus. And, I wish he was 100% healthy because it's always easier to deal with what we're talking about when you are 100% healthy. But that's the way it is. But I know he'll deal with it individually, but then we have to deal with it collectively and sort of how we collectively get better offensively with our crispness and our ball movement and learning. You don't have to hit home runs. You got to be good at these little things I'm talking about because then that's how a big play occurs. And the big play really was just a simple one, and that's the experience we're going through right now. So, last thing I told the guys is, we got another game Monday. I said you don't get your self-worth in life from results. That's why I think there's a lot of mental health things going on today because everybody wants like a result. You get your mental worth. You get your self-worth from your work ethic. You get your self-worth from the process, from what we do every day. Keep valuing that because our guys will stay strong, right? And as they stay strong, right, we got a game Monday. We're lucky. You have the attitude, I'm lucky, man. I get to play a game. I get to play again on Monday. Like, be grateful because when you have that attitude, right, you stay mentally strong, and that's ultimately what makes you really grow in all ways. And I'm seeing things that I like from this team, and I think it's clear to everybody, right, where we need to improve, right? We need to maintain and keep doing what we're doing. Do what I'm saying, we will grow because there's something there. There's something there. There's a little bit of tenacity there. There's a little bit of grit. There's the things that we need for us to keep improving, and I want to make sure they know that. And hey, we'll be off tomorrow. We got 2 days of practice. We got a game Monday, and we got to be ready to go, and we got to get better. And I feel strongly we will, and I know we can.
Ethan, the turnovers in the fourth quarter, I mean, what's kind of going wrong with the offense, either in those really clutch moments, those late moments? It seems like a lot of turnovers so far through 4 games. What's going wrong?
We just got a young team. That's not an excuse, but, when a lot of guys haven't played with each other, we have a lot of guys who haven't put in play last year playing and guys getting more minutes and bigger roles. Down the stretch, that's where those stuff shows up. And the guys who did play last year, that's where we have to step up and make sure that everyone's on the same page. I think that's just what it comes down to is just at the end of those games when, like the game is tense, the pressure's on, we're just not all on the same page. From the coaching staff to the players, we're all just like kind of antsy out there. But, we'll get it done. We got to get time, practice those moments and get better.
Free throw shooting got better tonight. The defense was good early on. I mean, what are some of the biggest positives you're seeing though through 4 games?
Like you said, the defense has been getting better game by game. That's something I'm really trying to hone in on, and free throws was a big priority, especially at the last game. But yeah, we have. I see a lot of positives in a young team like we have. We got a lot of guys who could make the basket, put the ball in the basket. We got a lot of guys who could defend, and it's just right now it's about gluing it all together. We just need that one final piece that just makes us better than the rest.
Nick, I know Ethan said it. It's been said a lot in these post games of we're just a really young team. I mean, how are the 3 vets on the team really trying to get everyone on that same page and maybe empower them a little?
We're a young team, but that's our benefit. We have a lot of time to grow, and to their credit, they're not being discouraged, and they're coming in every day ready to work and ready to play with the mindset that they're not a young team. They can play with anybody, and so just keeping that mindset up, not using being young as an excuse, and coming in to work every day.
With Lucas hurting so far this year, he was hurt and didn't play in the second half. I mean, how does that change your mindset and your role within this team when you have to step up and kind of be that lone big?
Yeah, it's really you really hate to see it, honestly, but it doesn't really change our mentality because it's always who's up next mentality. Everyone's got to be ready. From Lucas to a center who probably just became a center a couple of days ago. He's just trying to practice something like that. Everybody's ready, no matter what. If you're in practice and you're learning that position, you're expected to, if you get put in the game, to perform. So it's really a mentality that doesn't change much. We're ready to work regardless.
With so much experience kind of seeing this team over the years, I mean, how much does it feel like maybe the offense is pressing in those really key moments and maybe doing a little too much? I mean, are you seeing that, or what are you seeing from the offense late in games?
There's a couple of times where, like Ethan said, you get a little antsy and you try to make a play, and it's just like takes you gotta just settle yourself down a little bit. Understand that you're in a situation. You don't need 30 points in 2 minutes. You just need one bucket right here, and then a stop on the other end. So yeah, it can get a little stagnated sometimes just because you might be a little antsy. You want to make something happen, but reeling it back in is really when we start excelling.
I saw you talk to Lucas the first time he came out earlier in the game. I mean, how much are you guys maybe trying to step in and lead those guys, and especially on the floor when maybe you're seeing stuff? I mean, how are you guys trying to take on that leadership role as seniors?
Yeah, it's the seniors, but it's just everybody. So really, we're just trying to not just be a leader for everybody else, but empower everyone else to be leaders. And so giving everybody the tips and helping them calm themselves down and allowing them to do that. Continuing that, Luke will say it to me. I'll say it to Luke. Sometimes he'll say it to me, and we'll just help each other out, and not just being there to tell somebody to calm down or something like that, but allowing them to know that, hey, I'm there with you. You're with me. We trust each other.